Wizards Post-Game Live.
Well, it feels good to be back home, right? Yes, Kristaps Porzingis, I think so, after putting up a career-high 41 points. Hello and welcome to Wizards Post-Game Live. Jason Smith, Wes Hall, soon to be joined by Chris and Drew and Megan McPeak as well. We've got a great cancer awareness piece we're going to be talking about a little bit later on in the show. And of course, you'll hear from head coach Wes Unseld Jr. as well. I got all that off my chest because I wanted to get straight to the talk about tonight's final score, 142 to 127. Jason Smith, I have some gloating I'm going to do probably in the B or C block. So I'm just going to sit back right now. And I'm going to enjoy you breaking down what you saw. My friend, the floor is yours.
Porzingis got the party started.
Yes, he did.
3 on 3 on 3 on 3. Beal got going.
Yeah.
Kuzma in the second half got going. The whole
now.
team was just having a lot of fun out there. They were sharing the basketball. They had 31 assists. I mean, they were taking advantage of points off of turnovers. They were efficient tonight. This is what you wanted to see from Boston game, but it didn't happen. They went out there tonight. They had a bounce-back game off of a back-to-back. They got feeling good. Porzingis is comfortable against bigs who want to sit around the rim. He takes them out to the perimeter. When you put a smaller player on him, he takes them down into the post. He played very smart, efficiently. He knocked down his free throws. What more could you ask for? You want more bench production? They showed up to the party too. This entire team from top to bottom played extremely well. Now, I want to see them take that on the road.
You know what was so crazy, too, about this, Jason? Remember at halftime when you and I were sitting here and we were up 19?
You got worried.
We were sitting here.
You got worried.
I'm going to own up to it before I can finish owning up and confessing. I'm going to make sure you get to the live vote right now. Who's the most impressive Wizards tonight? You have the options right there on the statistics right there. Field goal percentage, three-point percentage, or free throws, all right there on the screen. Now, back to what I was saying at halftime, which was I was concerned because, hey, 19-point lead. It's not like it hadn't happened before. Sometimes things don't go the same way in the second half, but we ended up winning by 15. I'm happy. I'm happy that I wasn't, like, completely triggered.
And what you realize is that at the beginning of the third quarter, Minnesota started to make a run.
We knew it was coming.
Got concerned.
Knew it was coming.
Take a timeout, regroup, go out there, kind of get your things adjusted again. They just took off. Kuzma, Beal, and more of the unicorn.
You know what else was happening, Sticks? We were talking about when we were watching the game. Ball movement.
Yes.
Exquisite. It was almost as if, remember there was one possession in the Boston game last night where he swung it around the perimeter a lot?
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, let me borrow that tonight.
Yeah.
And you saw the sharing of the ball created so many different scoring opportunities for everybody. So, again, of all the statistics that we have tonight, including the three on the screen, which one do you find to be the most impressive?
You know, I would go for probably the three-point percentage because they had a rough shooting night up in Boston. You bounce back on a back-to-back, mind you. Typically, you don't get your legs back on a back-to-back and you don't have good shooting nights. They're at home.
Yes.
They're comfortable.
Yes.
They had bigs sitting back in the paint. Porzingis said, oh, you're going to do that?
You're going to do that?
I got this, no problem. But the biggest thing, like you said, the sharing.
Yeah.
Kuzma, he had multiple opportunities where he kind of gave it up. He was like, you know, in any other normal circumstance, I would take this shot.
And rightfully so.
But he said, you know what, Porzingis is on a heater tonight.
Yeah, here you go.
Go ahead.
I love it.
Go ahead.
Speaking of sharing, how about we share some screen time with Chris and Drew sitting in the perch at Capital One Arena. Gentlemen, great call tonight. Let's go ahead and get to it. It's time to rain some flowers on the unicorn. Drew, how impressive was his career night tonight?
KP got the party started, and just like Stick said, but let me get back to that those little votes you had right there. That wasn't the most impressive stat. The most impressive stat tonight to me was 31 assists and only 7 turnovers.
That's
it.
it.
I want to talk about the ball. Y'all talked about the ball movement and how impressed you were about the ball movement. Let's get that in the polls, you know what I mean? But other than that, KP got it cracking offensively. He was the catalyst to kind of give the Wizards confidence in that first quarter. But credit to the Minnesota Timberwolves. It was only a 5-point lead in that first quarter for the Wizards. So they were able, I would say, to kind of withstand the surge of the Washington Wizards. But that second quarter, they definitely took off like gangbusters, CM.
I said it before the game started. Who wants it more? I don't care about all the data and the stats. Who had the will to come out here on the floor and compete? And Washington got 86 points from the big three. We expect as much, right? I love what the bench did. Guys like Kispert, Jordan Goodwin. I mean, Wes Unseld went to the deepest parts of his bench towards the end of this game to get some kids some quality minutes, about 3-4 minutes in there. But a wire-to-wire victory leading by as many as 28 points. there was that ebb and flow where you were thinking, uh-oh, here comes Minnesota in that third quarter where they outscored Wizards 8-0 to start. But then Washington got right back into it. And I want to see how this carries now to Brooklyn. You guys talked about the three-point percentage. I'll leave you with this. Washington is number 1 in the NBA in three-point percentage differential between home and the road. They shoot threes 11% better at home. Now, the reason why I bring that up is what your poll said right there. Fans are thinking three-point shooting was the most important thing tonight. I want to see how that carries on the road now as we go to Barclays Center on Wednesday.
Sticks, I love the fact that this win came right after that 0-3 road trip. It's almost as if we snapped a finger and we're like, away with that. This is who we are. We're back home, resetting before we head back out on the road.
And you know the greatest thing is that you went on that road trip, you had 0-3. You got a get-right game. You got to come home, get right, then you go right back on the road. Chris, I love what you said. Take what you had tonight, take it to Brooklyn.
Yeah.
They gave you a slacking last time. You need some get-right.
Yeah, some payback. Yeah, are we due for that, Chris?
Man, we're due for a lot. You know, we're 11-10. I think they could be better than that.
We're so hard on above 500 team, above 500 team. I mean, we're just.
Yeah, but at some point you got to
tough.
expect more than just being average, right? And I think this team is not an average team. I think they have the potential of being something special.
There
If
you
they
go.
do things like take their three-point shooting that they do at home and carry it on the road and get defensive stops and just get after it. I
Okay,
want to see
Chris.
them get after Brooklyn on Wednesday.
I got one for you, Chris. Then, since we are rightfully so our own worst critics, as much as we're celebrating tonight, what's one thing that they can improve on before we head up to Brooklyn?
The old C word, consistency. You're not going to score 142 points every night, but defense has always been my thing, Wes. I talk about defense all the time because that can travel. Do you want to stay in front of a guy and guard him? Do you want to communicate on that end of the floor? Drew talks about it all the time. You know, it's one thing to talk about it on defense. I got him, I got him, I got him. But if you're not moving the puppies, what are we talking about?
Yeah.
Right? So I want to see the defense be consistent at home and on the road.
As Drew said, slide the puppies.
How'd I do?
T-shirt coming to you soon.
Great.
I want to bring in Megan McPeak, sitting sideline for us tonight. Megan, the same question to you. An impressive night from the Unicorn, but he wasn't the only one in the party getting it done. I'll add, as we've said before, Kyle Kuzma to that conversation as well, right?
Yeah, and I think when you add in the fact that you got Bradley Beal back throughout this road trip, it changes the way that you can actually play offensively because it puts more pressure on the offense. It spaces things out. And then that's when we get to see Kyle Kuzma not just be a scorer, but a facilitator. And I think that when he's in that type of multifaceted, multiversity playing role, I actually think he's at his best and when he is the number one guy having to put up big numbers, big points. I actually think him in the secondary or tertiary role actually bodes better for him and bodes better for the offense to move more fluid because he is willing to attack the paint. He's willing to attack and kick. Look for guys to get the sprayouts. You heard me with Kristaps in the walk-off. He said there was 2 or 3 times that Kuz drove and kicked it to him and he was able to get some shots to fall. So when Kyle Kuzma is a facilitator, in my opinion, I actually think it's when he's at his best versus having to be the primary scorer.
Plus, when he's able to knock down 4 of 7 threes tonight, guys.
That's
again,
not bad.
Not a problem thing. Now, my question to you guys, Chris and Drew, before I let you go real quick, of all
Yes,
the people
sir.
who need to have a repeat performance of tonight in Brooklyn, who do you say it should be?
Porzingis. Porzingis, that was it.
Yeah.
Y'all knew that. Y'all knew that.
What are we doing?
Yeah, for that one. That was a Danger
I
Gafford
love
lob.
it.
You know I was going to finish it.
You already know. I
KP.
love it, man. Appreciate it. Guys, I've got to let you go. Chris and Drew, thank you so much. I told you, it's been a wild couple of nights. Well done, gentlemen. Well done. Sticks, now that we can keep this conversation going, and we will be bringing Megan back into this as well, as I ask you, who do you think, besides Porzingis, we're going to move the goalpost a little bit more, who besides Porzingis has to repeat their performance in Brooklyn for us to get a win?
Well, I want to see the bench continue their progression out there. They want to go out there. They want to make sure that they have other people step up. If Rui's not going to be back, see more Kispert, see more Jordan Goodwin.
Yeah.
I want to see Will Barton take that next step as well. But having that bench consistency, you don't necessarily need to increase the lead, but just don't give it up. Don't have that lull when you put Brad on the bench or when you put Porzingis on the bench because 86 of your points, they're out there in the starting lineup. They're getting the party started. Don't have those lulls in the second quarter. Don't have a bad start in the third quarter because Brooklyn, as we saw the last time they played them, They are a very good team. Yes, they have their controversy going on all
They
over
always
the place,
got something going on in Brooklyn.
but they are a good team.
Good team. And I'm just looking forward to that, but I can't get too far ahead of myself. Neither can we. We got to wait for Brooklyn. That's Wednesday. Right now, we got head coach Wes Unseld Jr. at the post-game podium after a big dub.
Well, it was a good night. We need to see hopefully more of it. I think he was feeling the slump a little bit, not shooting the ball well. Still doing a lot of good things for us. So to see him have a night like tonight was good. Good for him, find a rhythm early. And I think, anytime he's making shots early in the game, it really helps loosen things up for us.
How'd you guys force so many turnovers and capitalize on them to the degree that you did?
Yeah, I think, some of it, some of them we fell into, honestly. But I did think the hand activity, our awareness, just getting into guys and being a little bit more physical at the point of screens, trying to take things away when we could. But the fact that we were able to turn teams over and capitalize was really, going into this game, a point of issue. They really struggled as far as when they turn teams over. When they turn over, they give up a lot of points, when they a little off balance with their, execution. So we were able to capitalize on that tonight, which is a big positive.
Guy's got the mic in his hand, doesn't want to ask the question.
No, I'm the team first player.
Yeah, it's good.
This is good. Wes, you talked about kind of the consistency that you want to see more before the game tonight. When nights like tonight happen, Philadelphia, even a tough loss at Memphis, are there things from these games that you can learn and say, okay, if we do this or if we prepare this way, we can kind of start to even those out? Is there anything you can take from these games?
Yeah, I think even, as well as we played, offensively, we had quite a bit of rhythm. We still made some errors, where it's either, poor possessions. We had to force this team to just defend us. I think they'd have a hard time, when we were able to execute. But sometimes we get cute and try and do too much, and I think that, that allows them to kind of make a run. Even the start of the half, it just, not quite where it should be. 8-0 run, all of a sudden, we're feeling a little pressure. And if we not turn the ball over, we're able to execute, and I think it just kind of keeps them at bay.
Coach, how important was it to come out of the gates as strong as you did, but not only that, but sustaining that level of energy and focus throughout this game?
Well, there was a sense of urgency. You lose 3 games. They're coming off back-to-back losses as well. So both teams playing on the second night of a back-to-back, it's a matter of will. Who's going to get their defense into the game a little bit, who's going to establish a presence, have a mindset that, establish that and impose that will on your opponent. I thought early in the game we did that and we were able to carry it through.
And Monte Morris yesterday, 8 assists, 0 turnovers, and today 5 assists, 0 turnovers. How important has his presence been on the floor, especially when he missed those 2 games?
Oh, it's huge. That's what he does. He's a point guard, rare breed in that regard. Assist first player. He does a nice job of just getting us organized, managing the clock, helps our execution. So I've seen him do it for years. So I'm not surprised at all that that trend has continued.
Wes, it seems like the defense has improved since, 10 games in. Once DeLon gets back, how much better do you think the defense as a whole can be?
I would think pretty good. I know it's tough, small sample. DeLon was really good for us. But just his hand activity, his size, even now I think he's probably second or third in deflections per game. So he knows how to impact, the defensive side of it. So I think it just adds to the layers that we've been able to accumulate thus far.
Was there any kind of a water bottle shower celebration in the locker room?
A little bit, yeah. I think they were excited for KP, and he can have those nights. It's once he gets going, he's shooting into a big basket. I didn't think he was hunting shots. The ball was finding him. His teammates were looking for him. He caught it in rhythm. He stayed aggressive. So I think it's good.
What does it say about the
Head coach Wes Unseld Jr. at the post-game podium, bringing in Megan McPeak to keep this conversation going on sticks. I heard him talk about water showers in the locker room after a big win. You say you want one?
Career night
Let's
for
go.
Porzingis? Absolutely.
You didn't
No,
flinch.
I don't need any of
You
that because I
didn't
know you wouldn't
flinch.
do that to
Well
me.
played.
I'll just throw the water bottle right back at you.
Well,
I'm not opening it at all.
Oh, look at you. He didn't get scared tonight. I'm happy about him. See the antics that we have after a win. Again, Megan, right beneath you, everyone at home seeing what was the most impressive stat that we have tonight. You've seen field goal percentage, three-point percentage, and free throw percentage. Of the three of them, which did you find the most impressive?
I actually think it's the free throws. On that road trip, they struggled mightily from the free throw line. So to see them bounce back, especially to Stix's point, you usually don't have your sea legs on the second night of a back-to-back. You're actually typically more tired. So I was very surprised and impressed by the energy that we saw from them to come out of the gates, but as well, too, to be able to still withstand it and knock down the free throws and knock them down consistently. So in my opinion, it's the fact that they were able to shoot from the free throw line at nearly 90%.
Wait. Megan said free throws. You said back-to-backs are harder with the legs, right? So
Correct.
that means 3 points are further away from the basket, right?
They are. But these are professional athletes, and I expect them to knock down their three-pointers. And they have on the road trip. But when it came to the free throw line, they were abysmal.
True. Point taken. I got it.
You see, y'all gonna work me out to that. I'm trying. All right. Before I ask him something completely crazy that turns into an inside joke that people at home will be lost at, let's ask you about Porzingis, something we can all appreciate tonight. I'm looking back at the numbers. The highest he's ever scored for the Wizards was 35. He did that against Orlando back in March. But as a player in the NBA, 41 points. The first half that he had tonight, Megan, I think that might be one of the more historic nights. Like, can he replicate anything near that in these next couple of games? Just that first half alone.
I mean, he obviously has the ability to do it, and that's the second time he's had over 40. The first time he was wearing the orange and blue and playing in Madison Square Gardens and did it against the Indiana Pacers. So this isn't a surprise. We knew he could put the ball in the hoop, and to Coach Unseld's point, once a few of those shots start to fall, all of a sudden that orange rim looks like the ocean, and the ball is just going to be easy to fall. And it's also a credit to the guys that were finding him in rhythm, in position, and in the right areas. He didn't have to hunt his shots, to Coach's point. He wasn't looking for them. He wasn't trying to track them down. They were coming to him within the fluidity of the offense. So could he do this again? Yes. Do they need him to? Absolutely not, because you don't have to go for 40 every single night. But would we be okay with it? Of course.
Okay, so then it leads me to this question, Sticks. We might not have to get the 41. I get that. But now that we have the big three, is it incumbent upon the Wizards to get him, Porzingis, activated first and early like this? Or is it kind of go with the hot hand of the night?
Well, it's a hot hand of the night, and it's game to game because tonight you had two bigs. Rudy Gobert, you had Karl Anthony Towns. Those are guys who kind of want to stay around the rim. They don't necessarily guard the perimeter that well. Guess what? Porzingis lit him up. He said he was comfortable against bigs. If you're going to put a small on him, he'll go in the post. Now, if you go against Brooklyn, which is next game, they got a little bit more athletic bigs. If you have KD out there, he guards perimeter people very well. I look for him to maybe guard Porzingis and possibly a Nicholas Claxton to guard Porzingis. That's going to be interesting to see how that matchup plays out because tonight he was feeling it. But on the road, this is the thing that we talked about. We want to see this three-point transfer. We want to see this ball activity and movement transfer. Take this on the road with you, Wizards.
This is going to be a real test on Wednesday against Brooklyn. Megan McPeak, do not move a single muscle because Wizards fans, on the other side of this break, we're taking you not only behind the scenes, how about onto the court? Denny Avdia mic'd up tonight. You cannot move.
Hot mic.
This is going to be good. I haven't even seen this. I can't wait to see this. This is going to be great. Post-game live back in a moment.
Let's go. Let's go. You good? Yes, sir. We good? We good? Oh, we good. I'm like, hey, watch it. Watch it. I'm coming through. Hey, whoa. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. That's cash. In your face. Pat, don't go under. I'm hot today. Don't go under. I gotta go, guys.
Denny Avdia mic'd up for tonight. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I love these type of access. Shout out to the Wizards and Monumental Sports for that access. Megan, when we're talking about Denny Avdia tonight, 6 points, that's one thing. Everybody looks at points. But I see 6 boards. I see 2 steals. I see a guy that no matter what he's doing on the court, he finds a way to contribute.
Yeah, and you look at the steals, like tonight, this was maybe the most active that we've seen this Wizards team defensively when it comes to, you know, deflection, steals, and whatnot. As a team, they had 12 steals. 12 steals, 5 blocks as well, too. And that's not even taking into consideration the number of deflections that they had. I'm sure if I went back and asked Pat Delaney, one of the assistant coaches, or Mike Miller, one of the other assistant coaches, both of whom focus heavily on the defensive end, or even the analytics guru in Dean Oliver, they could tell me what the deflections number was, and I imagine it would have been high. They were active tonight. When you think of hands and passing lanes, getting at the right angle, adjusting themselves, this was one of the more complete teams defensively that they played against.
When you speak of complete, how about a complete game for the Wizards? I know we've lamented second and third quarter letdowns. Jason, tonight, it was 4 across the board. Porzingis said there was a little moment at the top of the third, but overall, they gave you a complete game tonight.
Well, they felt free out there. They were moving the basketball. They had nothing to go against the other team. Minnesota is a good team coming from the Western Conference. They're coming off of a back-to-back. They got beat by the Warriors. They come into D.C. thinking, hey, this could be an even matchup. Well, guess what? Porzingis decides to go off.
Yeah.
Beal jumps in on the party. Kuzma said second half is mine. I think that this needs to translate to the road. But as a whole, I loved what I saw from the Wizards. They had a struggle on the road. They came back home. They're getting a road game, a get-right game to take back on the road with them. They go to Brooklyn. Got to get a get-right because that is tough. To go into Brooklyn, they're a team that's had lots of controversy. You need to get a big win because they put it on them last time. They need to go out there and prove, hey, that was just a minor blip in the radar. We are for real.
What I appreciated, Megan, too, and I know we've talked about this briefly, the 31-20 assists tonight. This team has to share the ball to be successful. Do we agree, yes or no? I kind of know the answer, but I'm asking you anyway.
1,000%, because when you look at those 31 assists, it was on 52 made field goals. You have to share the ball. When this team has proven, and I don't care, I'm gonna sound like a broken record, because when they do it, they prove that they have success. They prove that they have consistency and fluidity throughout the offense. When this team moves the ball, whether it is Brad being a facilitator and the instigator of the offense, whether it is Kyle Kuzma getting out in transition and being the facilitator and the instigator, whether it's even Kristaps Porzingis, a Jordan Goodwin, Corey Kispert, when this team moves the ball, they have proven that they have great success and great ease of offense. I would like to see this more often, especially on the road. Let's see this Wednesday in Brooklyn, because Brooklyn is not going to allow you to roll into Barclays and just walk all over them. They're going to put up a fight, and they're going to put up a dog fight, especially when you think of what they did coming into this building earlier this season.
They don't play on Atlantic Avenue. I'm just
No.
here to tell you. I used to live right around the corner. But I'm going to say this, though. We've talked about offense. What about on the defensive side? Tonight for the Wizards, creating 18 turnovers to 7. 18 turnovers, 29 points off of 18 turnovers, Station. That, I think, also has to be a focal point when we head up to Brooklyn. You got to defend.
Well, they were playing without fouling as well. They didn't put them on the free throw line. They were playing efficient defense, getting their hands into the passing lanes, and they were getting the job done on the defensive end, start to finish. The second chance possessions, still a little sketchy, but you got to go out there and show the possession. Make sure that you get it done, get a defensive rebound, and push it up on the transition. This is something that the Wizards really have to work on. They've worked on it throughout the year as it's gone on, but going up to Brooklyn, it's going to be a very, very difficult game going against a KD, a Kyrie, a Ben Simmons. This team is for real. This is a true test of taking what you did at home, and taking it on the road with you.
You know what I'm looking forward to, Megan? I'm looking forward to the second half of the game in Brooklyn, where Kyle Kuzma did what he did tonight. He gave you 9 in the first half. He's like, all right, my homeboy's cooking, so I'm going to let him go ahead and do his thing. But then I'm going to come back and give you 14 in the second half, as well as being a facilitator, as we mentioned as well, Megan.
Yeah, I thought, and I know I said this when I joined you guys earlier in the show here, but in my opinion, he is at his best and looks the most comfortable out there when he has space to navigate and space to move. And it's not just space to attack the rim. It's space to put the ball on the floor and kick for the spray out, whether it's KP or Brad or Kispert. It's the ability to go the up and under like you just saw right there. It's his willingness to spot up and hit down from the corner. It's the fact that he has so many spots on the floor that he can be so dangerous and so lethal. But then you also have to honor the fact that the man can put the ball on the floor and find the open guy and is willing to pass it. In my opinion, that is when Kyle Kuzma is at his best and is the most lethal when it comes to opponents trying to defend him.
I knew we were on to something tonight during warm-ups. I told you. Saw do-rag cools. It was going to be over. I told you at the beginning of the night. But it is what it is. Megan, don't move too far. Stick. You got to stay right in here as you have been, because tonight it is Cancer Awareness Night at Capital One Arena, of course, presented by MedStar Health, talking about cancer awareness and prevention. And this is one of those nights where everybody in the building is on the same page.
We're at MedStar Washington Hospital for their Cancer Awareness Month, and it's been absolutely incredible, and it's very eye-opening to see the passion that the doctors and their entire staff has.
It's just so fun to be able to be here, bring a smile to some of these patients' faces. It's just amazing to be a little bit of a bright light in their day.
It's been a very exciting day for our patients especially. So we had wizards and cops coming and meeting our patients who has been through the treatment, and it's been very exciting. So people were gathering together and taking pictures, but most importantly, people wanted to share their stories.
Always know that you have to follow the doctor's orders and get screened, get tested. I'm actually a prostate cancer survivor, so that, again, get tested, make sure you get out in front of it, and you have great people here at MedStar to take good care of them.
Again, detecting lung cancer early so you don't have to be on the defense. Use your QR code right there on the screen. Tonight, Flaminia Garioni ringing the bell. Part of the journey for those who have been able to be cancer survivors and fighters. Of course, again, tonight in Capital One Arena for Cancer Awareness Night, honoring all of those who continue to fight the good fight. PostGame Live back in a moment. Welcome back to PostGame Live. Well, since the Wizards put up 142 points tonight, the day after the Wizards score 115 or more, you get 50% off regular menu price pizzas at papajohns.com with the code WIZ50. Great job scoring tonight. Makes everybody feel good the day after a game to get some half-off pizza. Now, we get to take a turn down the wild side and look at our bold predictions, brought to you by Greenberg and Betterman. Remember, you can go to gblawyers.com and feel better. Tonight's bold prediction brought to you by the man whose voice you are hearing.
We got
right
one
there.
right, finally.
Yes. So I just want to take a moment and bask in the glory of greatness that I am right now. Yeah, I want to thank my mom, because she's pretty cool with me. My brother answers the phone every once in a while. And Jason Smith, because he's sitting next to me, so, he's doing good.
Would you just stop? You got lucky because Porzingis said, you know what, I'm going to shoot a ton of threes.
I said you got to believe. Right now, I want you to believe in FanDuel as we take a recap over our FanDuel best bets, making every moment more. Looking at the pregame wagers coming in tonight, Kristaps Porzingis over 36.5 was plus 160. $10 bet won you $16. Denny Avdia recording 2 or more steals was plus 168. $10 bet won you $16.80 in the Wiz win margin by more than 11, plus 600. $10 bet wins you $60. Now, Jason Smith, we can talk regular basketball right now. Along with Megan. Bring Megan in here, too. I want to bring everybody in. I feel good. See, this is what happens when I get my bold prediction right. I get to relax a little bit, you know what I mean? It's not often. Let me just have these moments, please. All right. Of all the things, you want me to be serious?
Floor is yours. You won your bold prediction. I can't say anything. I've got all mine wrong.
Bring Megan in here. Hey, Megan, how you doing? I'm feeling good right now. I got my bold prediction right.
You do this in the studio?
Can you see me right now? There you go. I see you. That's right. Cheer on the home team. Right hand high. Anyway, let's get back to the real conversation tonight. Whose performance besides Porzingis, matter of fact, outside of the big three, who do you think really stepped up to make a difference in this game or had an opportunity to?
The entire bench. And that was something on that road trip that I continued to talk to you, Coach Patsos, and Christy Winters-Scott about, was the bench. They needed to step up. And I get that you don't have Rui Hachimura, but that's not an excuse. As we heard from, throughout this game, we also heard from Chris in the pregame. Other teams are dealing with similar situations. So you can no longer use the fact that you've got this player out of the lineup or that player out of the lineup. You've just got to step up. It's got to be that next man up mentality. And tonight, we saw that. And I would like to see this continue to travel, to Chris's point, the big C word, consistency. I would love to see them continue to get it. And I know we are eventually going to get that game from Will Barton. But at the same time, you don't necessarily always need him to have that big game. When he is a facilitator and running the point, when he's coming off of the bench, that's also very important because you don't want him to have crazy, wild live ball turnovers because that is an issue for this Wizards team. So in my opinion, outside of the big three, the most impactful player in this game was the entire bench.
The entire bench, I love it. To her point about Will Barton, 9 points, 3 boards, and 3 steals. Yes, packing the stats. But go ahead. What do you see as well?
I would say Monte Morris. He provides that veteran leadership. He gets the job done. He takes care of the basketball. He doesn't turn it over.
Yes.
He's making sure to get the job done out there. He's that guy that kind of provides that consistency, that word that we're trying to get for the entire team. He's the guy who's done it for the first 20 games. He goes out there, he does his job, he does it well. He's not flashy about it. Nope. He doesn't just jump up and down and holler when he has a good play because he knows it's a 48-minute battle. He knows it's not just the first quarter. He knows that he needs to get everybody in their right position and make sure that if the possession does break down, go out there and get in a pick and roll with some of your guys. Get in there with Porzingis. If you don't have that, you got Kuzma in the corner.
True.
You're going out there with Bradley Beal. He's going downhill. It's just a trickle-down effect because once you have your point guard knowing what he's doing, everybody else feels comfortable.
Remember that play? Go ahead, Megan.
What's also impressive about Monte Morris is the fact that he did this last night against Boston in his first game back.
Yeah.
From injury, where normally you might have, that extra step where you're trying to get your lungs back into it, you're trying to get your legs back into it. And it looked like he had not even missed any time. Like, he looks good, and that, I think, is also impressive to Stix's point in his ability to move the ball and find guys and also preserve the possession and not turn the ball over.
You know it was all good when he and Kuz, because Kuz fed him, and he missed the layup, got the rebound back, and kicked it to Kuz. Kuz shot a 3, looked over and laughed. I'm like, that's what you want. Everybody relaxed, feeling good. That's how we're doing here. But now let's keep things getting ready because if you didn't already know, the score is 142-127 is the final score. We've been talking about Monte Morris. Well, guess who's in the locker room right now, ready for you to be hearing from? Monte Morris.
I mean, being able to sit out and actually see it, me also being a visual learner, it definitely helped. Just seeing the game from a different aspect and where I could really make my niche. And it's more so for me just pushing the ball and, just playing harder, and that's what I've been doing. I've been having fun, and I mean, I'm fresh too, so feel good. I mean, I be happy, I gotta trust the process, and I just gotta wait for my minutes to be unleashed. Right now, they got me on restriction, so I just gotta stay with the process.
What's your restricted minute?
23, 24 minutes, so yeah.
And then Kristaps did a fantastic job. Career high for him. Mm-hmm. What was it like to see him in that kind of a rhythm?
It was big time. I mean, at the end of the day, a guy like Kristaps, he could shoot from anywhere. So he just needs to see a couple go in. And then once he got 36, 38, we was on the bench like, yo, we got to get 40. But that just showed you the character that every guy in here has or somebody else to get their stuff going. So we're just happy for it.
Stix, Monte says he trusts the process at 23, 24 minutes. You're a former player on this team. How does it feel, what you see in him about getting reacclimated?
Well, he's a true professional. He knows he can't just go out there and go hard as ever just to burn out real quick.
Right.
He has to continue to trust the training staff and make sure that they know what they're doing and go out there and really play within himself. Not try and do too much in the first quarter, second quarter, but all
it's a marathon.
quarters.
48 minutes. Right now I want to bring in Megan McPeak, who's sitting down with Corey Kispert after tonight's performance. Corey, Megan, glad to see you as always. Megan, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Wes. So, Corey, obviously coming into this one, after returning from injury, the shot, it's been up and down. It's something that you know that you're just going to keep shooting. Tonight you don't miss from the floor. The only miss you had was actually the free throw line. Just talk about the mindset and mentality of continuing to just be ready and shoot the ball.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's a mindset and a mentality. You got to be able to shoot it consistently and shoot it aggressively over 82 games. And everybody has their ups and downs, and that's the beauty of basketball. And the goal is just to have a little less downs than ups.
Tonight, bench bounces back. It's been kind of an up and down situation, especially on the 3-game road trip. Just talk about the mentality. Is there, a conversation amongst you guys that come off the bench and in and out of the lineup of, guys, we got to be there tonight for the starters. We've got to step it up.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the starters have done such a great job all year long, and it's our responsibility to come and pick them up when they're down and to kind of extend leads when we're up. So definitely conversations we've had as a group. We got to be more, accountable on our end and do our jobs just like they got to do theirs. So, I'm really glad to see us all bounce back like that tonight.
You mentioned the fact of not just holding the lead, but extending it. What was it tonight that you guys were able to extend the lead as a bench unit and as a second unit in this game? Because they gave you guys a little bit of a scare in that third quarter.
Totally, yeah. It was the pace, honestly. Getting the ball off the rim and flying up the floor and playing on our toes, attacking them, playing downhill, and being the aggressor was really the main thing. And when we stopped doing that, that's when they kind of made their run. So as long as we're playing downhill and being the aggressor, like I said, usually it turns out pretty good for us.
Before I let you go, obviously, leave tomorrow, head to Brooklyn. That's the team that came in and gave you guys one of the worst losses in franchise history, unfortunately. How do you and what can you guys do as a second unit to translate that and take it on the road with you?
Yeah, that was one of our worst games as a second unit for sure, and we know that, and we're accountable for it. So, got to pack your defense on the road. You can always control your effort and energy, and you can't really always control that shots go in and out, but the effort and energy always needs to be there no matter where you're playing.
Wes?
I appreciate it, Corey and Megan. Thanks so much, Corey. Best of luck to you on Wednesday in Brooklyn. Megan, we appreciate it as always. This night is not over. He talks about attacking and being downhill. Oh, yeah, we got something we're going to attack. We're going to attack the film room with Jason Smith on the other side. Sticks. Corey Kispert doing his job tonight on the court. I love the energy. I want to see more of it.
White men can jump too,
I would say after the first half, I was like, okay, 29, I think that's the most I've made. And so I said, I have to try to go for it. I thought that I was not going to get it because we were going to blow them out like by 30 and then not maybe play the fourth. I was thinking about that scenario also, but the game was somehow, some way it was close. So yeah, got a career high and yeah, really happy.
Kuz said that you shooting from three was kind of part of the strategy to counter Gobert. How did that kind of work into your favor? How did it play into the way you guys wanted to play?
Yeah, no, I had those first three looks that were pretty open. Once I saw that ball go in, I was in a good rhythm, and yeah, my teammates just kept finding me out on pretty open throughout the game. So just knocked them down, felt good, and didn't look back. Just kept going, and it was a good night.
I understand you got the defensive belt. What was working for you defensively tonight?
I don't know. Our defensively we were okay. We were not great, I would say. They still scored a bunch and shot decent percentages. I was just as every night I tried to protect the rim, got a steal or two, and just playing my game defensively. So yeah, I told that Thrill had some good, Will had some good defensive plays. So it's me and him. We both got the ball tonight.
KB, I guess at halftime, were you well aware that your career high was 40?
Sorry?
Did you know that the career high that you had to break was 40?
Yeah.
And I guess, how was the water bottle shower?
Oh yeah, no, I looked at Rui and he had this like cheeky smile on. I was like, something's going to happen, or I don't know why he's smiling. And then as soon as I got up to get the belt, it was a shower, and everybody was happy for me. So that's a good feeling, and your teammates being happy for you. So I enjoyed that moment.
We came back, we were talking about Imagine Dragons. Well, help me understand a unicorn, if you don't mind.
This man was on fire tonight, and I love their offensive plan for him. If Rudy Gobert wants to stay in the paint, make sure to take him out of the paint and on the perimeter. Now, Rudy Gobert sees Bradley Beal curling around, going to the rim. Most people would bite on it, go protect the rim. No, you have a three-point shooter. Great defense. Porzingis just knocked it down. That was his first shot. I thought it was maybe a little forced, but that was a tendency for the night. Again, Bradley Beal on an out-of-bounds play. You got a little screen for him. You have to help, but Brad does a little help for him. He goes out there, gives him a little arm tug on Gobert, and Porzingis wide open yet again. Nothing but net. The teammates loving it out there, but the offensive flow, not trying to force anything. Bradley Beal, he realizes he's got 4 or 5 defenders around him. The open man's Kuzma. Kuzma knows who has the hot hand.
Facts.
Porzingis. And again, going through the defensive belt right here to stay within the play. Denny having the good hands, the deflection, to stay with the play, save the ball, going out of bounds, but not give up on the play. All right, I saved the ball, I'm done with the play. No. He stays with it, gets into the offense, puts his hand up. Jordan Goodwin says, oh yeah, I see this man. He is hot tonight. I'm gonna feed him the ball wide open. Said, bang, bang, right there. He was feeling it tonight. He was going out there. He's shooting with confidence. And if you knock down the first couple shots, keep feeding him the ball. He did a phenomenal job. He was feeling it tonight. He got a bounce-back game at home. Now, as we've said all night on this post-game show, we want to see them transfer this to the road, transfer it to Brooklyn. I want to see Porzingis do that. Bradley Beal and Kuzma take this on the road.
Sticks, I love it. So, Megan, real quick, I just have to ask, because I kind of asked Jason this earlier. Does the Wizards offense run more successfully if you have KP getting started earlier more than anyone else? And that's just kind of out of curiosity.
I think to Stix's point, it depends on the matchup and who you're playing that night. Can I also mention, too, that this is probably the most I have seen Kristaps Porzingis smile while playing basketball.
He was happy out there tonight.
Since he has joined the Wizards. And that, I think, is also infectious because then it shows he's having fun and it trickles down to the rest of the team. But to Stix's point, I think you go through KP when the matchup favors you. And tonight, it favored him. In his walk-off, he said to me, I like when I get to play against bigs. And he had two of them tonight in the Stifle Tower and Cat. And he took advantage of the fact that they could not guard him everywhere on the perimeter, and he used that to his advantage. Counterpoint to that is when guys that are smaller and they put guards on him, that's why we see him more in the post. So I think it is all dependent on the matchup and who they're playing tonight.
Good luck if you shorter than 7'3" want to deal with it.
Yeah.
Good luck with that. Let's take a trip, quick trip around the association. Quick trip, whip trip, whatever.
You okay? You good?
I'm happy.
Just a little too excited.
You know, I only have one time. I'm tongue-tied. Ooh. Let's look at this real quick. Okay, so we all know about Bobo, right? How tall is he, Six?
Gosh, he's got to be like 7'3", but it looks like an optical illusion because he's so skinny. You think you're open? No. And then, off the defensive play, he goes on the offensive end like, good.
So he stops a bucket and gets a bucket. That should be 4 points if I'm not mistaken. But look at this. KD, come on, man. That's like borderline the most disrespectful thing you can do. I'm going to laugh at you before I go get a bucket, Six.
He said, youngin, come on now. You want to be physical? Oh. Just take this bucket with you. I'm going to go to the free throw line. I'm going to get myself an and one. Go sit your on the bench.
Sit down, son. It's just like he's looking at him like, come on, man.
Mid-play.
That's nice. You want to play defense.
His eyes are closed.
He's like, you want to play defense? You know what I'm saying, Megan? Like, come on.
What?
Oh, my gosh. Well, guess what? We are not going to allow him to do that on Wednesday. Wizards Nets pregame live starts at 7 o'clock here on NBC Sports Washington. So make sure you are right here on a different night, different time, same game.
It's always fun when you can get somebody a career night. It's very, very hard to play in this league. It's very hard to do anything in this league. And anytime players can have career highs, it means a lot to them. And as a player, you understand how much it means. And this is good for KP to, one, get out of a little slump he's kind of been in. And, you know, he carried us the whole night.
Post-game podium here. Check out the next 5 games for the Wizards. Big matchups. Brooklyn, Charlotte, the Lakers, the Bulls, and the Pacers once again. Wizards have already seen 4 out of these 5 teams. It's going to be a kind of interesting run over these next 5 games. But Jason Smith, as we bring back you and Megan real quick, as we get ready for Brooklyn, number one thought, priority number one to get a win in Brooklyn is what, Jason?
KD. He's the head of the snake. He's the guy who gets the party started on the offensive end, but he is the person that you need to try and contain as much as possible. He's got his running mate back in Kyrie. Ben Simmons is starting to play well, too, so it's going to be tough. They got big 3, so do the Wizards.
Megan McPeak, priority number one for a win against Brooklyn.
Don't let Ben Simmons get confident.
She spoke his name.
You said that so angry.
She spoke his name.
No, because he's proven in the last few games when he gets confidence and teams allow him to get downhill and he sees the ball go in the hoop, it's a completely different Ben Simmons than we're used to seeing. Don't let him get confident. Take him out of the game as quickly as possible.
If I could throw my hat in the ring, it's pretty much attack like you did tonight. All hands on deck. Be aggressive from the very opening tip-off and don't let off until 000 on the clock. Easier said than done, obviously, but I'll take the win tonight. 142-127, the final score from Capital One Arena. On behalf of our great staff and crew here at NBC Sports Washington, for Megan McPeak, for Jason Smith, I'm Wes Hall. Enjoy your Monday night. We'll see you Wednesday for Wizards Nets.